Welcome to Story Shamans, animals! Hey, this week, we're talking about Cubby number 4. Moral. I'm sure you're all familiar with the term. The moral of a story. Let's define it anyway. When we say the moral of your story, we're talking about a specific statement being made about human behavior. This statement will carry with it a particular opinion. It's not just an observation. It's a statement with a value judgment. Let's say, love must be protected above all. That's not just an observation about behavior. It's an opinion about love and how one should behave in regards to love. When telling your story, this particular opinion about human behavior is the point of your story. It's what can be learned from your story. The reason it's being told. And the reason an audience should listen. It's the moral of your story. Now, this moral statement has to be backed up with some kind of reasoning. You can't just simply say that it's true that love must be protected above all. You've got to justify your claim. To do this, you need to attach a because to the end of your moral statement. Love must be protected above all because, in the end, love is all we have. This attached because statement is the foundation of your reasoning that your moral statement is a truth. Now that you have a fully formed statement, you still have to argue it. A story that simply presents one side of an idea is boring and pedantic. A good moral should be an opinion that can be argued from both sides. You've got to present reasons that your moral is true and reasons that your moral is false. The argument you make will be woven through the events and drama of your story, scene for scene. How do we do it? Heap, hop, hope. There are 3 different methods for creating a moral argument. There's the pro-con method, the inverse method, and then there's the method we like to call 4-point alternation. Pro-con is exactly what it sounds like. You have yourself a moral statement, and then you explore the pros and cons of that statement in equal measure. In the end, providing more pros or cons depending on your ultimate opinion. You want an example? You got it. For simplicity's sake, right now we'll leave off the because statement and focus on just the fundamental idea. Example: drugs are bad. This is a statement with an attached opinion. So we spend time in the story exploring the pros of drugs. Say, these particular drugs over here were instrumental in opening minds and helping big brains solve hard problems. And the cons of drugs. Say, these drugs over here spiraled these people's lives into pits of despair and life-ruining addiction. Then we land on a definitive opinion. Our original moral statement was drugs are bad. So in this story, that argument will win out in the end, in a dramatized way. Say in the end, drugs ruin the lives of your main characters. You've made your point. This is the most basic form of a moral argument. You got the pros and cons of one idea. The inverse method is a little more complex. It's a little more specific. In the inverse method, you're pitting a statement against its direct opposite. Example: drugs are at the center of all inner-city crime versus no, they're not. You demonstrate how drugs are at the center of it all, and then you demonstrate how they're not at the center of it all. How in some ways they're not to blame. And then you make your point. The big daddy of moral arguments is the method of 4-point alternation. This method is even more complex in that it uses 2 separate conflicting ideas. 2 moral statements pitted against each other in direct conflict. One more drug example. Idea number 1, the source of all inner-city crime is drugs. Versus idea number 2, the source of all inner-city crime is poverty. 2 different ideas. For the first idea, drugs, there's the statement, the source of all inner-city crime is drugs. Versus its inverse, no it's not. For the second idea, poverty, there's the statement, the source of all inner-city crime is poverty. And the inverse, no it's not. You have 4 aspects of your argument to explore. Drugs as the source of all inner-city crime, and its inverse. Versus poverty is the source of all inner-city crime, and its inverse. Notice how the 2 general ideas are mutually exclusive. Drugs and poverty can't both be the source of all inner-city crime. So the 2 general ideas are also at odds with each other. There's tension on all sides. 4-point alternation is the most complex form of moral argumentation. 2 concepts at odds with each other, each with 2 sides to explore and argue. You're making 2 moral arguments at the same time and seeing which one comes out on top. That's it for this week. Next week, our next delicious cubby, Desire.